Welcome to episode 9 of the ASKJV Podcast. Today we're talking about low end, how to record drums when you don't have the studio space, and techniques for recording acoustic guitars.
3, 2, 1. This is the ASKJV Show.
Here's our first question for this week. Hey Jordan, do you reference the low end in your mix with some other tracks, or does this just come with practice?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. I definitely use reference tracks for the low end, and it's also just a matter of practice too, and just learning your monitors in your room. Actually, referencing for low end is one of the pretty much the only things I do use reference tracks for now these days. I find if you're constantly comparing your entire mix back and forth with reference tracks, you can really go down the rabbit hole and be just constantly trying to match something that you can't match because you don't have that source material and you're not that person. So you're not ever going to exactly match the sound of someone else's mix. So if you're constantly referencing back and forth, I find it actually works against you rather than for you. Unless you're using them in specific ways, just to quickly check the overall low end, which I definitely do that for my mixes as well. But I don't do a ton of it because I've just been mixing on, these NS10s for so long that I'm pretty confident in knowing what the low end's going to sound like and how it's going to translate to other systems. So yeah, I do a little bit of referencing, but not overkill. Ultimately, it's with enough years and hours mixing and practicing and referencing back and forth, you're going to get better at just kind of automatically knowing whether you have enough low end or not.
Our next question comes from Michael. Hi Jordan, great show. Not sure if you've covered this, but regarding setting up your own recording business or home studio, how do you go about the logistics of drum recording without owning a studio space?
Yeah, I think you got the right idea, man. Basically, if you don't have the space to record it in your own studio, then you're going to have to rent out somewhere else. So I like the fact that you have a mobile rig and you can, go to somewhere like a rehearsal room instead of renting out an expensive studio. That's cool. Obviously, it has its drawbacks too. So maybe as you gotta progress and get further ahead and deal with clients who maybe have a little more money to spend, you can start renting out small studios and then bigger studios for the drums. One thing with that is that you definitely you will benefit from doing a lot of pre-production and really preparing ahead of time. So if you spend a week or two in pre-production and get every single drum part really nailed down, then maybe you can afford to spend twice as much and go to a nice drum room, a nice studio, because the drummer is going to be able to knock it out in 1 or 2 days instead of a week or whatever. And that way, you don't have to pay so much for the studio time. So I definitely recommend that. And I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. As you can see, I just have a small home mix room here, and it's fine for mixing and everything. But when I track other instruments, I got to rent out another space. So that's just what you got to do, and I think it's a good model. It's expensive to have the overhead of a bigger studio and the live room and treating that room and just all the upkeep associated with that. If you're really busy recording and you can afford to make that leap, then that's awesome. But for me personally, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm mostly mixing now. I chose to focus on that. So if I am tracking stuff, then I will go to another place to do it there. So those are my tips regarding recording instruments and drums if you don't have the space.
Our last question comes from Steven. Quick one regarding your technique for acoustic guitars. What are your favorite mics and recording techniques?
Hey Steven, so kind of the main thing I want to say is maybe you should try recording the acoustics just in mono instead of in stereo. I've definitely done tons of both, and I prefer mono, and especially even if it's just solely an acoustic song, I'll just track it mono and have it up the middle if it's kind of a sparse song, a sparse arrangement, or if it's kind of a more modern sounding acoustic song, then I'll double track the rhythm acoustics left and right, both with just one mic. I don't know, for some reason I just find it sounds more focused, more clear, and I use a small diaphragm condenser for that. And again, I've tried everything, large diaphragms, expensive ones, cheap ones, and small diaphragms. Some of my favorites are the Shure SM81, I believe it is, and the AKG 451. Both small diaphragm condensers. Put it about 12 inches from the acoustic, right around the 12th fret. If you get too much low end, you can move it either a little back from the guitar or a little more towards the neck of the guitar. If you need more low end and you're getting too much string noise, you can move it a little more closer to the body. But usually around the 12th fret, about a foot away is a sweet spot. And I don't know. That's just my preferred method, just a mono mic, having tried it all. I think you might find it easier to control in the mix, especially if you're blending the acoustics with, other instruments in a rock mix or a heavy mix. Having it in stereo is just way harder to manage. I would definitely recommend just doing the mono mic and mixing it in there. Sounds great to me. So try that out. Try out the mono. Then you don't have to buy two mics either. So you should be good to go with that. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. By the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the special episode last week, the interview with Andreas Magnusson. If you haven't listened to that yet, definitely check it out because it was awesome. I listened to it twice, and I was the one who did the interview. So it was great. I definitely recommend checking that out. And if you guys want to hear more of that stuff, more interviews with other producers and mixers, let me know because I would gladly do that if that's what you're interested in. So send in your questions to askjvpod.com. By the way, the physical copy of my book here is now available on Amazon. So check that out. I think it turned out pretty cool. You can grab that on Amazon or, of course, get the ebook version. And if you're not on my email list, make sure you subscribe at hardcoremusicstudio.com. I'll send you my free mixing cheat sheet, and you'll also get all of my best content there through the email list. So thanks again. Make sure to submit your questions, and I'll see you next week.